Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Jaya Vrinda Devi 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 Jaya Vrinda Devi.
Cha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha Vrindayi Tulsi Devi Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Radhe Devi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha. Jai Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. Shrimad. We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Actually do a tour around Govardhan really quickly today. A 45-minute tour around Govardhan. Okay. Okay. Yesterday was a big disappointment because the guests didn't get a chance to bathe Govardhan. It's upsetting. I really wanted everyone to get the mercy of Govardhan. But anyway, next year we'll arrange it so that everybody can bathe Govardhan. So quickly, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari. Gopijana Malaba Hiribaru Dagote Gopijana Malaba Hiribaru Dagote Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachare Yamuna Tera Panachari Jairanu Madhava Kunyabihati Jairanu Madhava Kunyabihati Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya also Tera Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace by Acharana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Vilas Thakur Ki Jai Friends say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shayama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Gaur. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pajarni Nivishesha Shinyavadi Paschatade Shatarni Somagana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Viditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. So we're going to take you on a quick Govardhan Parikrama. So, of course, you're all familiar with this picture. I have in the house, I have the original picture. Can everyone see it? Can you see it from there? So this is actually a scale picture of Govardhan with all the different pilgrimage places around it. And we're going to zoom in on each of these different places as we go around Govardhan. How about that? Of course, we all know the story of how Krishna saved the residents of Vrindavan by lifting Govardhan Hill. We told that story last night. And he saved them from the torrential rains that were sent by Indra to humble Indra so Indra could actually get a few realizations before he forgot his realizations, because we were talking about that last night. Sometimes it's by bad association or by getting too much amenities in this world, we actually forget about our realizations. So many of these pastime places were discovered by Krishna's great-grandson, Brajanabha. Krishna's great-grandson, Brajanabha, came with Krishna's wives that were still on the planet, and he did a whole tour of Govardhan, and not only Govardhan, the whole Braj, and he actually pointed out the different places where Krishna performed his pastimes years before. And in fact, he also installed many of the original deities there at Govardhan, and I'm going to point out some of these original deities. And when he came there, he had a kirtan, and Krishna and his associates appeared during that kirtan, and Balaram was there, the gopis were there, everybody was there, and after the kirtan, they all disappeared again. Pretty disappointing. So this is some of the history of the places in Braj. And so we start on our Govardhan Parikrama. There's Govardhan. Govardhan, as we heard last night, is non-different from Krishna. He's also Krishna's best servant. So this is pictures of Govardhan and some aerial pictures. So we're going to start in the Manasi Ganga area. Manasi Ganga is the Ganga which we'll describe in a second. And in that Manasi Ganga area, there's this place called the Mukhara Vinda Temple, and this Mukhara Vinda Temple has the mouth of Govardhan in it. And in this mouth of Govardhan, and this is the mouth according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you'll find other sampradayas will say the mouth is here, the mouth is there. But people are offering foodstuffs to the mouth of Govardhan 24 hours a day. And so these are some of the devotees who are offering the foodstuffs. And there's the Manasi Ganga, which is right next to that temple. It's actually, at one time, it was the largest body of water in the Braj area. And here's an aerial shot of the Manasi Ganga. Another shot of the Manasi Ganga. With the Mukhara Vinda temple right there is the Mukhara Vinda temple. So the story of the Manasi Ganga is as follows. Once upon a time, there was a demon, and the demon was a wolf in sheep's clothing, or a calf in sheep's clothing. That's the saying in English, wolf in sheep's clothing. Sometimes we even find devotees who are Kali Chelas, and they're not devotees, they're Kali Chelas, and they come in devotee clothing. I'm not pointing at anyone in the room here. So, but it happens sometimes. So anyway, so this demon was in the shape of a calf. Krishna killed the demon. The cowherd boys said, you've killed a calf. You have to go to the Ganges. Krishna didn't want to leave Vrindavan. So what he did is he manifested the Ganga from his head, from his mind, actually. And therefore he took bath in the Manasi Ganga, and he didn't have to leave Vrindavan. And later on, Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai, they wanted to go to the Ganges, and Krishna said, this is the Ganges. And he proved it by having Ganga Devi come out of this Manasi Ganga. And these are all pictures. I'm zooming in on this big picture we started the whole slideshow with. So these are all there on that particular picture. It's an amazing picture, and I have a scan of this if anyone's interested in making their own big copies or anything like that. I have a high quality, like 100 megabyte scan, so people can zoom in and do programs like that. Also, Krishna and the gopis had some boat pastimes there. Once upon a time, the gopis wanted to cross the Manasi Ganga to bring milk products for a sacrifice that was taking place. And so what Krishna did, he arranged there was no boatman there to help them cross the Manasi Ganga, and Krishna himself dressed up like a very old boatman. And the gopis, they asked the old boatman, can you take us across? And he said, yes, we'll take you across. So they get out a little bit into the Manasi Ganga, and the boatman says, I have no strength, I need to eat these milk products. And so they give him the milk products, and after that, he says that actually I'm too tired after eating. I need a massage. So please massage me. And the gopis said, we'll massage you, but we'll throw you into the Manasi Ganga. And then he started rowing. Then there was a storm, and there was water coming in the boat. And Krishna said, you got to throw things off the boat. So they threw all their milk products off the boat. And Krishna said, that's not enough. You got to throw your clothes off the boat. And then the gopis said, no, we'll throw you off the boat. So then it kept rocking. They were all scared. And finally, Srimati Radharani saw this flute tucked in the boatman's belt. She thought it was just an old man, just like people said the other day about a guru being an old man. So anyways, it's a funny story. And so she then understood it was Krishna. She embraced Krishna. And here's some more pictures. It's a beautiful picture of this. And they had their pastimes on the Manasi Ganga. In the middle of this area of the Manasi Ganga, there's this place called the Chakra area. And this is the area where the Sudarshan Chakra hovered overhead of Govardhan to keep Govardhan dry while Indra was raining down or trying to rain on Govardhan. And in the middle of this area, the Chakra area, there's the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami was bothered by mosquitoes one time, but there's also the place of Chakaleshwara Mahadev, who is the presiding Dikpala or protector of the Govardhan area. And so Sanatan Goswami wanted to leave because he couldn't do his work with all the mosquitoes, but Lord Shiva said, I'll take care of the mosquitoes. And then there were no more mosquitoes for Sanatan Goswami. So there's a temple, this is the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatan Goswami, and also the temple of Chakaleshwara Mahadev, the Dikpala of the Holy Dham there. And next to that is the Manasi Devi temple. Manasi Devi is considered to be Yogamaya, who's the presiding deity of the Manasi Ganga. And in the middle, or right next to that, is this place called the Haridev temple. Now the Goswamis of Vrindavan said that before we do Govardhan Parikrama, we should actually take permission and darshan of Haridev, the self-manifested deity, which we'll see in a second. Here's the aerial shot of the temple, another aerial shot of the Haridev temple, the entrance to the Haridev temple, and we go in the temple and we get closer to the deities, and here's Haridev. So Haridev is self-manifested. Actually, it was installed by Brajanava, but he's considered to be a self-manifested deity because one day the gopis, they were looking for Krishna. And they were chanting Haridev, Haridev, Haridev. And Krishna appeared as a deity, holding up Govardhan Hill with his one hand. You see, there's the deity right there. And so we take permission from Haridev to go around Govardhan. And so this is Brahmakund. Brahma also offered his obeisances to Krishna there. And then, as we go around Govardhan, we see what's the original, what people say is the original place of the Dangati temple. Dangati means the tax pastime, which we'll talk about in a second. Because a gati is a path. And there's a particular path over Govardhan Hill that the gopis would take their milk products over, and Krishna would inevitably extract or try to extract taxes from the gopis. This story is told by the Goswamis. So then we see Govardhan as we leave the city of Govardhan, which is where the Manasi Ganga is, and we take darshan of Govardhan for the first time, and we offer our obeisances to Govardhan, and there's a rock with the imprint of Krishna's lotus feet and Radharani's feet. And there's some deities. There's Lakshmi Narayan deities. Is one of the first things we see as we go around Govardhan. And then there's the ISKCON Mahal or ISKCON Palace that was renovated by His Divine Grace Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And it's a beautiful place, a retreat center, generally for sannyasis and brahmacharis, and they have deities of Krishna and Balaram there. And of course, Gaur Nitai. And here's the Pushpa samadhi of His Divine Grace Tamal Krishna Maharaj with two of his disciples, who I also gave second initiation to. And here is one of our groups that we took around Govardhan. And one little girl here is now quite old. She's initiated. Anyway, Kumare Radhe is her name. She's initiated with the name. That's Paramangora's daughter, right there. And these are some devotees from Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Nandarani, you remember Nandarani? That's Nandarani, and this is an old guy, an old guru right here, as we heard the other day during my Vyas Puja. So, so this is the Dhaninavartana Kunda, and around this Kunda there was a tax pastime that took place as the gopis were trying to take their milk products for a sacrifice. So they tell the story in brief. Krishna stopped them and wanted to extract taxes, and the gopis, they started arguing back and forth, and eventually there was some agreement reached that they would come the next day to pay their taxes. And Krishna was quite romantic. This story is also told by the Vaishnavacharyas. And Krishna was actually asking taxes for each part of Radharani's body. Very romantic, isn't it? See your beautiful eyes, and then he went over other parts of the body, which I'm not going to describe. You have to pay this much in jewels, that much in jewels, and then they got so upset and said, okay, we'll come back the next day. So the next day they came back with more gopis, overpowered the coward boys, tied them to trees, threatened them, and made them offer obeisances and apology. So then a little distance from the hill, there's this place called Chandra Sarovara. And Chandra, of course, means moon lake. And this is one place where the gopis and Krishna had a rasa dance, and this rasa dance lasted for a whole night of Lord Brahma. And Lord Chaitanya personally stayed there and chanted the holy names. There's a deity of Lord Chaitanya there. Right next to there is a temple called the Chatur Bhuj Temple. This means four-armed Krishna temple. And very beautiful deity there. We're going to see the deity in a second. So this is, see the distance from Govardhan. You got to walk across the fields to get to this Chaturbhuj temple. Here's the outside. And see the deity. And right next to there is Narayana Sarovara, the Narayan lake, and a Lakshmi well. And Lord Chaitanya's sitting place at this Chaturbhuj temple. And here is the deity, the four-armed deity. Beautiful deities. One of the deities installed by Brajanabha, one of the original deities. The original deities that were installed by Brajanabha are all black. They're made of a special stone called Bhadra, which is, you won't find any other deities made of this particular stone. So the story is that Krishna was hiding from the gopis, and the Krishna wanted, and the gopis wanted to find Krishna. And they were looking here and there, and Krishna took on the form of Narayan. And the gopis, instead of worshipping Narayan, they offered respects, of course. They asked Lord Narayan, where's Krishna? Then Radharani came, and Krishna couldn't keep his extra two arms on because of her great love. So this is how we have to walk across the fields. That's an old person there. So near there is Gaurikund. Actually, right in that same area is Gaurikund, and this Gaurikund, Gauri is the goddess Gauri or Durga, is the famous story where Krishna took the form. He actually took the clothes of the deity Gauri and fooled Radharani's so-called mother-in-law and sister-in-law into thinking that Radharani was worshiping, I'm not going to tell the whole story now, was worshiping the deity. And as the deity, Krishna threatened them and said, if you don't trust Radharani and trust her chastity, I'm going to kill Abhimanyu, which is her so-called husband. And so they very obediently to the deity left the situation and left Krishna and Radharani together. Beautiful story. We've told that at length before. Then there's the place where the residents of Vrindavan offered all the foodstuffs to Govardhan. It's called Annakut ceremony, and this is the location where it occurred, and this is the location where we have our Annakut ceremony. We've had it in the past. Right next to the city of Anyor. We described what Anyor means last night. Anyor means more and more and more, which Krishna asked for during the Govardhan Puja ceremony, and they weren't able to give this gigantic form of Krishna enough, and basically they were getting nervous, and they gave Krishna a tulsi leaf, and he was satisfied. So this is the Anyor area. We go into the city, and there's these original deities of Dauji and Krishna. That means Balaram and Krishna. They're hidden away, actually, in one of the alleyways of this particular city or town. Anyone's been there with me? Some of you have been there with me. It's very hard to find. Even I have a hard time. And right next to that, on the hill, you'll see a new temple that was constructed, and there's deities there, and here's an aerial shot from the temple. Some people say that's the original place where the temple of Madhavendra Puri was established. And there's a very old temple there too. And I don't know the history of this particular temple. Some people say it was a Shiva temple. Some people say that this was the location of the original temple of Madhavendra Puri. This is an aerial shot from the top of the hill. Another shot of the temple. Then there's a kund right next to this particular location. It's called Sankarshan Kund, or Balaram Kund. And Balaram Kund is the place, or the lake, where Balaram kept all the water that fell around Braj. He kept it there and made a kund from it after Indra was trying to kill the residents of Vrindavan. Then as we're walking around the hill, right next to the hill, there's this place called the Gopal Prakrat Stali, which is where Madhavendra Puri discovered the deity of Gopal. And that story is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Here's the inside of it. And there's a Shila there called the Bhajan Shila. The residents actually make music by touching different parts of the Shila. I don't do that. I don't hit the Shila. So here's the story about Madhavendra Puri. He discovers Gopal. He has a dream after Krishna brought him something to eat. He has a dream that Krishna's in the bushes, so he brings the residents of Vrindavan to take their choppers and cut the bushes, and then they discover this deity of Gopal, which is one of the original deities that was installed by Brajanabha. And the deity, eventually, after Madhavendra Puri and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deity was taken out of Vrindavan to protect the deity from the Muslims, or the attackers, and it was taken to Natwar, and he's called Sri Nachi. So there's that story. It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm going really quickly because I don't know how much time. I do know how much time, very little time. So we continue going around Govardhan. And what is it? So many beautiful pictures. Okay. So here's, what is it? This is the story of Indra again. The story of Indra, who was attempting to kill the residents of Vrindavan. And then what happens? Indra apologized, gave Krishna a bath, and brought the elephant down. We told that story last night. And these are the presiding deities of that particular area. Radha Krishna deities that are presiding in that area. And near that area there's a kund called Nipa Kund, where the cowherd boys would make cups out of leaves. It's not a kund anymore, it's dried up. And here's the place where Krishna stood when he was bathed by Indra. And also we have Madhavendra Puri's sitting place. and Madhavendra Puri's bathing place, and devotees take the blessings. There's an old man again. So devotees take the blessings of one of the desire trees in Vrindavan, and we make wishes. You have to be careful what you wish for when you're approaching a desire tree. We have stories about that we're not going to tell right now, where people wish for the wrong thing and it happened. And so anyway, so we're praying for Madhavendra Puri's mercy and taking darshan. Then as we continue to go around Govardhan Hill, there's the Dokadauji temple. Dokadauji means that Balaram was shocked when he saw Krishna's rasa dance, and he dropped his crown, or his mukut, and his crown, there's an aerial shot of that, his crown fell in this is the inside the temple. So his crown fell in a particular spot and made an imprint on that spot. Here's Balaram watching Krishna's rasa dance, feeling shocked, and here's the imprint of, it's called the Balaram Mukut Shila, the imprint of Balaram's mukut or crown. Then as we go around Govardhan, the devotees are making their homes out of Govardhan Shilas, homes in the spiritual world. Some people are making homes that are a little too big, so then they go to Vaikuntha instead of back to Goloka Vrindavan. I tell them that if you're going to make a 5-story home out of Shilas, you're not going back to Govardhan or Goloka. And then you still see peacocks there. And here's a shot I took one time. It's a beautiful shot of the cows. This would make a nice backdrop, actually. Yeah, yes, very good resolution. Then we approach the tail of Govardhan. Quickly, we're going around quickly, high speed. So all the incarnations of Krishna exist in the tail of Govardhan. And one of the main temples you'll find there is in the Shringa temple, an ancient temple, and there's one of the original deities installed by Brajanabha. We're going to see that deity in a second. An aerial shot of that temple. And coming up the pathway to the temple, walking down the stairs, this is after seeing the deity. And then there's the deity. It's Ugra Nrsimha. And the devotees there are so kind, they let me do the deity worship when I go. I'm allowed to approach and touch and rub oil on the deity. You know, they're very kind to me. And the Pujari is showing us Lord Nrsimhadev, and there's a Hiranyakashipu. We say, Hiranyakashipu darshan when we go there. And there's a little Prahlad Maharaj too. So there's Hiranyakashipu, you can't see him too clearly, but there's Hiranyakashipu there and Prahlad Maharaj. Here's a close-up of the deity. Beautiful deity. This is, I said, one of the original black deities that was installed by Brajanabha. And at the tail also we find 2 kunds, Navalkund and Apsarakund. Navalkund and Apsarakund are considered the Radhakund and Shamakund of the tail of Govardhan. As we said last night, Govardhan is shaped like a peacock. The 2 eyes of the peacock, of course, Radhakund and Shamakund, and then there's the tail. And the tail has these 2 kunds that represent Radha and Krishna, who looked at each other. There's the Navalkund. They looked at each other, and then they melted into the waters of the kund. These kunds contain the love of Radha and Krishna. So if you bathe in them, you'll get love for Radha and Krishna. And of course, the actual Radha Kund, I don't go directly in. I sprinkle some water on my head. But these particular kunds, when I was staying there during the summer, it was so hot, I would go swimming in them. And with all my clothes on. And it was so hot that within 5 minutes, the clothes were dry. You can't believe how unbelievably hot it is in the middle of the day. It's like walking into a blast furnace. And Krishna and the cowherd boys herded their cows there. And at the tail, there's this, the deity also of Pancharika Lota Baba, who was a coward boy, one of Krishna's friends, who wanted to serve Krishna lunch, and Krishna was on his way to Mathura, and Krishna said, I'm coming right back, as they say. Went back soon, and Krishna, being the original person from India, was lying. He didn't come back, and this coward boy is still waiting for him. Today he's also considered to be an expansion of Hanuman. That's why you see him reddish like that. He's at the tail. Here's the very picture of the tail of Govardhan. Going around the tail, another picture of the tail, another picture of the tail from the air with those two kunds, another picture from the air, and the ecstatic devotees coming around the tail, waving at the helicopter. So, this was probably during Kartik. These pictures were taken. This was not during the summer. You could tell that if it was during the summer, everything would be green because it rains. You know, when it rains, it rains. I had to swim back one day about 10 kilometers when I got trapped in one of the rains. There was water up to my waist. So it's, and you know, they're all having, all the Brajavasis are having a good time. They're just like ecstatic. It's raining, and they're just going like that, dancing in the rain. And I don't know if I was too ecstatic. I was worried about all the garbage that was floating in the water, you know, and the overflowing septic tanks. Anyway, so here's a picture of all the incarnations that manifested the tail. And this is called the Manikandali cave. And this is one of the many caves that Radha and Krishna had their pastimes in under Govardhan. One of Lord Chaitanya's associates, Raghava Pandit, who was Dhanishta in Krishna's pastimes, meditated in this cave. I used to go into this cave too until I discovered there were bats there. Then I didn't. So Radha and Krishna, they would get to the caves and hide out from her in-laws. And here's the entrance to the cave, like that. There's a Nrsimha temple also at the tail. We're still at the tail, more or less. And sometimes we have ceremonies, and we do marriages. We do marriages at this Nrsimha temple. Not Nrsimha temple, sorry. It's not it's a Nazi temple. Got it wrong. It's a Nazi temple, Sri Nazi temple, replica of the Nazi deity. So then as we go around, there's Airavata's footprint. Airavata's Indra's elephant. And he left his footprint in one of the rocks there. And we get to the Indra Puja shrine, where Indra stood when he worshipped Krishna, is the inside of the shrine. Surabhi Kund, which we mentioned last night, where Surabhi, the transcendental, or at least heavenly cow, kept her milk that she was going to bathe Krishna with. Here's an overhead shot of Surabhi Kund, some of the bas reliefs around Surabhi Kund. Beautiful reliefs. It's taken care of quite well. Some of the beautiful cows around Surabhi Kund. These beautiful. You see that, so beautiful, their faces and everything like that. And then we get to a place called Rudand Kund. And this kund was formed by Lord Shiva's tears when he saw Krishna's pastimes. Called Rudand Kund. Here is Lord Shiva crying, tears of ecstasy. Right next to that is a place called Hariju Kund. Hariju Kund was formed by the tears of the gopis, feeling separation from Krishna. Here's the gopis, feeling separate. And also the coward boys used to play in this particular area. Then there's Indra Kund, which were formed by the tears of Indra. Then, as we enter the city of Jatipur, Jatipur means the city of the sannyasi, named after Madhavendra Puri, we come to this Dandavat Shila, and it's said by the residents there that if you offer your obeisances to the Dandavat Shila, then you're free from any offenses you may have committed when you go around Govardhan. I don't know if that's something modern. It's not from the Acharya's writings, but I do it just in case. then we walk some distance off. It's actually about a kilometer off the hill. There's a place called Gantole. Should we delay the opening for a little bit? Since it's a special day, we can do it. It's just for a few minutes. Gantole is a place where Radha and Krishna had one of their many marriages. They tied Radharani's sari or cloth with Krishna's cloth. Therefore, it's called Gantole. Gantole is like a knot, means making a knot. And it's really an isolated place practically no one knows about. Many years ago, I used to just take a bicycle and ride to all these different places. Because some of them were quite some distance away. At one point, I had a motorcycle, but not anymore. So anyway, but when I wasn't such an old man, I would ride my bicycle, and I was just thinking, this is so much fun. I mean, God, having so much fun riding a bicycle around Govardhan. I don't do that anymore because the traffic is really bad. Of course, now there's no more traffic around Govardhan, so I could do that again. I could actually drive but there's still these rickshaws, electric rickshaws. There's an old temple there. And there's a place called Gulal-Kund. Gulal-Kund represents the place where Radha and Krishna had their holy festival. And to this day, Gulal-Kund changes color during the holy season without anyone throwing dyes into it. Lord Chaitanya also chanted by the banks of this Gulal-Kund, and you actually see Lord Chaitanya's deity there. Interesting. These are all different places that most devotees don't know about. And then here's a picture of the pastime, Radha and Krishna's holy festival. Next this is an interesting story, Vilachu Kund. Vilachu refers to like earrings. So what happened is Radha Vilachu Bihari there. It's an interesting story occurred there, that Radharani dropped some of her earrings, or by accident or something, into the Kund, and she was looking for them, and Krishna had asked, what are you looking for? And she said, earrings. And then Krishna said, I'll look for you. And Krishna found even different earrings, like many, many different earrings in this Kund, and he gave them to Radharani. It's called Vilachu Kund. So anyone want to go with us around Govardhan? Then we get to Uddhava Kund, as we heard the other day, that Uddhava resides as what? Creepers, grass, creepers, dust around Vrindavan. Actually, we're going through this particular section now where Uddhava has these beautiful, beautiful prayers where he prays because he's so humble, remember from the class. He's so humble, he doesn't pray to become a gopi, he prays to actually get the dust of the feet of the gopis. And that sets a good example for us. There's Uddhava Kund, and there's a little girl there who lives here in New Goloka right now. You know her? Padma Gopi. And now she's married with 2 children, so that was at Uddhava Kund. And Giridhari he's passed away since then. But he was a friend of mine, and every day he was there greeting the pilgrims, reading from Shastra, real sadhu. And we would get his blessings, wonderful, wonderful devotee. Deities there are called Uddhava Bihari, the 2 sets of deities there. And right after that, we enter into the Radhakund area. We're not going to do the Radhakund Parikramana right now because it's not time and it's not the day for it. But there's the Mahaprabhu Chaitanya temple, which has this gigantic deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone's been in this temple? You've been in the temple. Gigantic deity, a beautiful deity. And I remember meeting the Pujari, the Guru and Pujari there. He was like 116 years old and still worshiping the deity. They had to carry him in on a chair. I mean, he's no longer with us. And so here's an aerial shot of this particular temple. As we enter the Radhakund area, there's the Malya Hari Kund. That's the famous pearl pastime Kund. I don't think we have time to tell that story, but anyway, we'll tell that story when we do the Radhakund Parikrama. There's this place called Shivakori in which Srimati Radharani and her associates saved this jackal that was being tortured by some young boys, and the jackal became a gopi. Here's our group again, enjoying life. Then, after we finish Radhakund area, as I mentioned, we're not going to do Radhakund today, we come to Kusuma Sarovara. Kusuma Sarovara was the famous pastime place for the cowherd boys, and the cowherd boys would eat lunch. This is of course, the Sarovara, the construction is all new construction. New means several hundred years old. And the cowherd boys eating lunch and having their pastimes, and Krishna and Balaram herding the cows in this place. Beautiful place, and devotees often go swimming in this Kusuma Sarovara. Aerial picture of the Kusuma Sarovara. And here's the group taking the water from the Kusuma Sarovara. It's said that Narada Muni bathed in one corner of this Kusuma Sarovara and became the Gopi Naradi, so he could see Krishna's pastimes. And interesting pastime occurred here. Krishna was up in the tree holding the branch down, and the gopis didn't see that, and they were picking the flowers, and Radharani was holding onto the branch, and Krishna jumped down, and she flew up in the air, and Krishna said, "I'll catch you." And she said, "No, you made me fly up in the air." Anyway, and next to there is the Banabahari temple, in which Krishna becomes the hairdresser for Srimati Radharani. This temple is run by some ISKCON devotees, some good friends of mine. As Krishna becoming the hairdresser, and Radharani, instead of looking at her own self, like most ladies do when their hair is getting done, she's looking at the person behind her, who is Krishna. There's a beautiful Uddhava temple that used to be taken care of by a friend of mine, who's now residing in Radhakund, just become like a complete Babaji. So he's from Canada originally. And there's a Nardakund where Narada Muni composes Narada Bhakti Shastras and Narada Bhakti Sutras, and Narada Pancharatra, a deity of Narada Muni. Ratnakund, and the Ratnakund is a famous place. Actually, this is in a very isolated area. It's called the Shamkutir area, which means dark kutir. And in this particular place, a pastime happened where this demon, Shankachuta, tried to steal Radharani, and Krishna killed Shankachuta and took the jewel from him, which is in the shape of a conch shell, and that jewel later on, according to Rupa Goswami, became the Shaimantaka jewel. There's an imprint of Krishna's lotus feet and a cow's hoof print, and a place where the jeweled, Ratna means jeweled, Ratna Singhasana stood. And Krishna had many pastimes with the gopis in this particular Shamkutir isolated place. Here's Krishna dancing with the gopis, and there's the Ratna Singhasana, the jeweled throne, and Srimati Radharani is sitting on the jeweled throne. And Radha Krishna, many intimate pastimes occurred in this particular place. Right next to that, there's another place called Walpukur. Pukur means the same thing as Kunda. It's a lake, but that's a Bengali word. And this is where the cowherd boys had many of their pastimes. And one of the pastimes occurred when the cowherd boys took Madhu Mangal's ladus from him. And he was very, very upset, ready to curse them. And there's many ladu pastimes, because Prabhupada said he's a very greedy Brahmin. Greedy for food, but, he's one of the foils in Krishna's pastimes. And Krishna and the cowherd boys eating their lunch. We're almost finished, and then we can greet the deities. And then there's a person offering obeisances to Govardhan at the end of the parikrama. And there's a lot more, but we didn't have enough space in the slideshow for more. And with some of the devotees there, his name is Ramanuj, and some of the nice devotees from Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. Ultimately, all these devotees came from Fiji. And Ugolakund, as we're entering again the city of Govardhan, which the Manasi Ganga is in, this is where Nanda Maharaj stayed on his way to Nandagram from Gokula, because Krishna appeared in Gokula, and then Nanda Maharaj took the cowherd boys, the men and the ladies and the cows, all to Nandagan to save them from the demons. He thought there weren't going to be any more demons there, but there were demons there too. Panchatirtha Kund, where all the holy places reside, the 5 holy places. And then we end up in the place where we stay at Govardhan, which is this place, anyway, Braj Basundra is called. And then we have our classes there in front of the cottages that belong. Some of them belong to the devotees, and some of them are rented when the devotees are there. And it's, definitely during Kartik, because we could see people are a little cold then. And that's it. So now it's time to greet the deity. So thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That was quick. That's probably the quickest parikrama I've ever made around over there. I took you around that fast? Yeah, sometimes I go around almost that fast.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhamatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham
Jamim. Namam Ishwaram Sached Anandarupam Vasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Yasodabe Yono Kalad Dhavamana Paramrishtamat Yanta Tolrucha Gopya. Rudantam Muhunetra Yugram Rishandalam Karambuja Juk Mena Satsankanetram. Moshashakam patrerekam gaganta Sita gravandamudaram bhakti badam. Iti Driksalila Bir Ananda Kunege Swagoshamni Majantam Akyapayantam. Jare Sita Geshu Bhakta Jagatam Punak Prematas Tam Shatavriti Vande. Varam Deva Moksham Na Mokshavatim Vaha Nachanyam Neham Vareshadabiha. Idam Teva Purnata Gopalabhatlam Sadame Manas Yavirastam Kimanyae. Idam Timukam Bojam Achantanilai Ritam Kundalai Smigda Raktasha Gopya. Mohoschambitam bimba Raktaduram megi Manasya virastam Alam lakshalabai. Namo Deva Dhammodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jala Bhimanam. Kripa Drishti Vristati Dinambatanu Grihane Shamamagyame Yakshidrisha. Guvermatma Jomana Muchaivat Yadvat Twayamuchito Bhakti Bhajo Krito Cha. Tata prema bhaktim swa kame prayagacha namukshe graho mesti damodareha. Namaste stu damne smaradipti damne dvadiyodharayata vishvacha damne. Namo Radhikaya Cha Diyapriyaya Namo Nandali Laya Devaya Tubhyam. Namam Vishwaram Sache Anandurupam Lasat Kunalam Gokule Brajamanam. Yasodabeyo Nukat Ladavamanam Param Rishtamat Yantato Rujagopya.